Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. React to the Pro Football Focus grades from the Lions and Packers game. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off with the top 5 on defense first, which goes as follows: Brian Branch, Aiden Hutchinson, Alex Anzalone, Amik Robertson, and Derek Barnes. The first standout there to me is number 4, Amik Robertson. He was fantastic in this game, and he played everywhere for us. Only 13 coverage snaps according to NFL. However, he played everywhere. He came in the nickel when they had 3 receiver packages, and he played phenomenal in that spot, which is where he's been focused this entire offseason. His ability to be very sticky in coverage, really balanced with his footwork. Of course, his run support was on point, but what stood out to me was the communication and the one breakdown that he had with DJ Reed early in the game that led to a big first down. The next time that situation came about, it was an incomplete pass, DJ Reed over top. It was one of his better coverage reps, and that was because Amik Robertson led the charge with communicating of DJ Reed, playing in and out coverage. He picks up the over route, covers it pretty well, and DJ Reed is able to get into a good spot there. I thought he led the way, and then you get to the end of the game, and he rolls into a safety assignment in the red zone, and he plays it incredibly well. Steps down on what would be a slant, covers that up, and then he ultimately takes away Jordan Love and his scramble. Well out wide outside of the one play where he fell down and kind of that in and out move by Matthew Golden. Outside of that, though, he was really strong in this game. His footwork was on point. I think this is the kind of player that gives you so much optimism, knowing that we may not have Terrion Arnold this week. He gives you so much optimism that you're going to be okay in that time because he can play outside. You can leave him in the nickel. You can put a guy like Dorsey in, but you have flexibility when you have a guy like Amik Robertson. No other surprises there for me. Derek Barnes, well-deserved. Alex was very good against the run. Branch did his thing in coverage, and Hutchinson had a lot of wins. We just couldn't really notice them because of some of how fast they were getting the ball out. Out of 5, it's really one surprise for me. First off, DJ Reed is the lowest graded line defensively and just had some real losses early. He had the coverage breakdown early, but he settled in. I thought he finished the game really strong for the Lions, playing over 30 coverage snaps. But we saw him. He was truly beat early in the game. The in and out move. He was beat underneath on kind of a whip route. He felt very impatient with his footwork, had the breakdown, but you noticed a really good twitch within his game, which he has. He was a touch late to get over top on the cover 3, but he fixed that later in the game, and he covered up better with Amik Robertson. He looked really good when he was in quarters, and he was able to play top down and just drive on the football. You wonder if maybe they kind of lean into some of that stuff going forward, but ultimately, I thought DJ Reed finished much stronger than he started. He just got beat early in that game. His run support was fine, but it was just getting beat early, but he finished really strong. 2 would be Tyleik Williams. I just disagree with this one flat out, but I think most of this is probably towards the end of the game because towards the end, he got walled off a few times. He got down blocked, kind of got shoved out of the play, didn't have as much knockback at the point of attack. Just felt like he was not being as impactful as he was early in the game when he was playing behind a line of scrimmage, and he was doing a lot of good against his zone scheme. But overall, I still felt it was a very positive day for Tyleik. He gave us a little bit of juice as a pass rusher. It was no real great wins there, but he created a little bit of knockback. His hand usage was good. He got some good entry points. He got an edge a couple of times to create some pressure, but he's not a big-time pass rusher right now, so that's fine. But he did some good things there against a really good interior offensive line. I love how fast that he played. I thought that his ability to shed with the twitch that he did really showcased in this game. I thought it was a real positive for Tyleik Williams. The shed twitch, the hot feet, the first punch on entry, the speed to power was missing a little bit there. And again, he got walled off kind of towards the end of the game a bit. Also kind of just pushed out of the play when he was trying to stay square, and he kind of lost some of his range to actually play over a gap, so they would just kind of pull him out of the play with some of those down blocks. I think that really dropped his grade towards the end, but for a majority of this game, I thought Tyleik Williams was a very big positive when he was on the field. DJ Reader, Marcus Davenport, and Pat O'Connor round out those bottom 5. Those grades weren't really that bad. They were just more middling. Now to the offense side of the ball. The top 5 on offense were Penei Sewell, Sam Laporta, St. Brown, David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs. I think we all understand why Sam Laporta's on here. He was fantastic as a pass catcher in this game. That's very understandable. And then Penei Sewell, maybe the biggest surprise to be our top-graded offensive player. He settled in. He actually only allowed 1 hurry in this game. The first half was shaky, but the second half he settled in really well as a pass protector against Micah Parsons specifically. He had some losses in there that didn't actually get nabbed as pressures because of how fast the ball was out, where he did lose. But that said, he did settle in way better in the second half. He battled for us, and as a run blocker, he was really good. That felt like the Penei Sewell that I'm used to seeing. It's just we need to be able to get behind him by the interior, playing a little bit better. But it's surprising that he did come in at the top there. Now to the bottom 5 on offense: Graham Glasgow, Jared Goff, Brock Wright, Jameson Williams, and Christian Mahogany. Graham Glasgow was one of our key players to watch in this game. He had to have a good game. I thought he was going to swing this, and him being the worst graded offensive player makes some sense here because he didn't give us a lot of support in the run game. That was the problem. His pass pro was fine. He didn't give a lot of support in the zone plays. He didn't really do a great job. I thought was his drag hand to give us punches and allow our guards to get back into the play. Second level just wasn't connecting. That wasn't all on him, but we weren't consistently connecting on those blocks. Had some lost blocks on his own as a run blocker. It just wasn't great. I don't know that after this game you're like, hey, move him out of center. I do think eventually it's going to be Miles Frazier starting at guard and Tate's going to be at center. Ultimately, though, still as of now, maybe you just change up some things you do stylistically in this game. I would emphasize him giving more support to these guards a little bit, but ultimately that's the problem. That was mainly the problem because you also on that list have Christian Mahogany at 5, and obviously Mahogany had some true blown assignments. Full interior offensive line did. It was Mahogany just got beat consistently, it felt like, on zone run plays, right? He just got beat consistently in those spots, couldn't reach block in some of those positions, and it just blew up plays in the backfield. Now, they were athletic up front, so I didn't think it played to his strengths incredibly well, but it was just that element in general. And then also some pass pro got a little shaky, of course, when they were able to just pin their ears back. Jamison Williams, a little bit hit and miss in terms of true separation that he created, and Jared Goff kind of just took what was there. I think he left a couple of things on the field. Obviously, the one interception is going to plummet his grade, I would assume, by PFF standards. Play I want to quickly touch on here is Terrion Arnold, because for me, Terrion Arnold in this game, I thought it was a real positive, and we're hoping that he's going to be okay. Dan Campbell said he doesn't think it's necessarily serious, but he was very dynamic at the catch point, not handsy at the catch point, really good timing in both spots when he was attacked in the air, and that was great. He made it very difficult for them to come up with the ball, which was fantastic. He was beat over top on that cover 3 look. They kind of attacked his blind spot, and he was just a little bit slow to get out and run. I think he lost some of his balance, and again, the backside, DJ Reed was late to give him support over top once the safety drove down. The very next play, they scored a touchdown on him where it was just a straight rub route, and there's not a ton that he could do with that. But honestly, outside of that stretch, I thought it was a real positive for Terrion Arnold. I thought he looked really patient off the line. He looked more patient than DJ Reed did off the line of scrimmage. He was a little bit maybe over-aggressive in some spots, which put him in some tough situations, maybe shifted his balance a little bit too much, but ultimately his recovery looked very natural, which I did like. But it was the biggest thing for me was at the catch point and just being natural there, right? Not being grabby, not being, overly antsy, but being calm when the ball was in the air. That was the biggest positive for me when it comes to Terrion Arnold. And I do want to throw this last note in here. Terrion's run defense was fantastic. I mean, the cornerback play for run defense is pretty good across the board, but Terrion was big time as a run support piece in this game. And for the offensive line, it's all about playing on a string, and that's going to be the key. They have to find a way to play on a string. When Dan Campbell talks about fundamentals, they didn't look like they were playing on a string, even on a stretch run play or an outside zone. That's pretty basic, but we weren't playing on a string, and that's what needs to dial in. Walked away positive. I didn't think it was great, but I walked away positive from the way that Terrion played. I think the secondary is going to be absolutely fine. It's just communication errors are the first place that it needs to start, similar to the offensive line.